You ever have one of those moments where you can see someone's life unravel right in front of you, and you can't decide if you want to laugh or just lean back and enjoy the show? That's how it all kicked off for me right there in the sheriff's office, watching Patricia Denora, Queen of Beige, squirm in a chair that looked like it might just give out if she shifted her weight the wrong way. Deputy Martinez was tapping the laptop screen with his giant finger, and there it was frozen on some figure in a black hoodie, caught spray painting Patricia's garage at 1:13 in the morning, plain as day. Patricia was all pale and jittery, wringing her hands like she always did whenever things didn't go her way. She leaned over, voice all quivery. "Yes, officer." "That's the vandalism I reported." Clearly my neighbor Tom Garrison. He's been nothing but trouble since he moved in. I'll admit I had to bite the inside of my cheek to keep from grinning. You know what I mean? Patricia always thought she was the smartest one in the room, but 20 years in cybersecurity teaches you not just how to spot a weak password. You start noticing all the little things, like how her eye twitched every time I mentioned security cameras. So I leaned forward real casual and said, "Before we go any further, Deputy, maybe you ought to see the whole picture." I pulled out my phone, knowing this was the moment Patricia's world was about to turn upside down. See, the thing Patricia never counted on was that my new system uploaded everything to the cloud real time with angles she couldn't even dream of. So when Martinez took my phone and started watching, I could see his eyebrows start climbing north. My cameras caught that same hooded figure walking past my house toward her garage, spray can in hand. "Enhance that section," I said, like some CSI rerun. And there it was, monogrammed gardening gloves, PD, in loopy cursive. Patricia's breathing picked up, sounded like someone trying to whistle with a mouthful of saltines. "Those could be anyone's gloves," she snapped, but I just said, "Keep watching." Then on the footage, a gust of wind blew the hood back just enough to see platinum blonde hair and those rhinestone cat-eye glasses she wore like armor at every HOA meeting. Deputy paused the video. "Ma'am, this appears to be you vandalizing your own garage." Her face went purple, knuckles white on the table. "That's ridiculous!" she shrieked. "Why would I spray paint my own property?" I'd been waiting for that line for months. "Deputy, I can answer that." Out came a folder, 37 violations she'd filed against me in just 6 months. Petty stuff. Wrong mailbox color. Gnome facing east instead of west. My grass was 3.2 inches instead of 3. You ever get the feeling someone just likes making your life harder for sport? The deputy's jaw kept dropping with each fine. I could see he was getting the picture. "Last month I said I suggested at the HOA meeting that we relax some of these rules. Patricia here told me, and I quote, 'I'll make sure you never feel welcome in this neighborhood.'" Patricia glared daggers, but I had it all recorded, one-party consent, perfectly legal. I played the audio. Her voice clear as a bell. "I'll find a way to get him out if it's the last thing I do." Deputy turned to her, serious as a heart attack. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to stand up and put your hands behind your back." Patricia freaked, of course. "You can't be serious. I'm the victim here." "But no, that's not how it works." "Not when you try to frame your neighbor and lie to the cops. That's a felony even in a place as nice as Maple Grove Estates." I probably should have known trouble was coming the minute I moved in. First week, first violation, moving truck parked for 4 hours and 37 minutes. Rules say 4, no exceptions. $200 fine just for trying to move in. I went to the HOA meeting thinking maybe I could explain myself. Patricia sat at the head of the table like some Game of Thrones villain, glasses perched on her nose, papers everywhere. "The rules are clear, Mr. Garrison," she said, not even looking at me. "Commercial vehicles are an eyesore." When I pushed back, she just waved her hand. "Exceptions lead to chaos." That was the pattern. Violation, fine, repeat. I paid, but I started documenting everything, installed cameras everywhere. Said it was for security, but really it was Patricia I was worried about. Turns out that was smart. The night of the vandalism, I was up late finishing a project. I saw someone out by the street moving weird. Didn't think much of it. Next morning, Patricia's pounding on my door at 6 a.m. in full dramatic meltdown. Someone vandalized my garage, spray-painted terrible things about the HOA. I just know it was you, Tom. I went over, sure enough, HOA sucks in big red letters. Her husband, Gerald, poor guy, just stood there looking like he wanted the ground to open up and swallow him whole. Patricia made sure the whole block knew she'd called the police, showed off her doorbell footage with a figure in a hoodie coming from my direction, of course. All very convenient. But the minute I mentioned my own security cameras, her face did this twitchy little dance. That would be helpful, she said, voice flat as a pancake. That's when I started piecing it all together, found the footage, saw her prepping the act, doing a practice run past my house, making sure she'd be caught on camera. But what she didn't know was I'd just upgraded to 8 cameras, every angle covered. Then came her emergency HOA meeting. She strutted to the podium, preaching about troublemakers and standards, showed her blurry screenshot to the crowd, made sure to highlight it was my house the suspect was coming from. That's when I stood up. Since you brought up footage, maybe I can share what my cameras caught? She was smug. Of course, Tom. So I plugged my laptop into the projector and boom, the room went silent. I walked everyone through it, angle by angle, zooming in on the gloves, the glasses, the unmistakable profile. People started whispering, some even laughing. Gerald's head dropped into his hands. Patricia, desperate, tried to claim the footage was fake, doctored somehow, but I'd already given copies to the sheriff's office. You might want to check your pool house, I added. I have you on video hiding the spray paint can there. That's when she snapped, shrieking about harassment and threatening to sue me for invasion of privacy. But a neighbor from the back of the room piped up. Recording your own property's legal. Filing a false report isn't. And right then, Deputy Martinez walked in with another officer, said they'd already found the can exactly where I said it'd be. Patricia went pale as chalk. After they hauled her off, Martinez told me Patricia had pulled the same stunts on at least 3 other neighbors, most of whom just gave up and moved away. This time, though, she picked the wrong guy. The DA decided to go for the max false report. Vandalism, attempted fraud. Trial was quick, my footage was airtight, and when the judge heard the audio of her threats, it was game over. Her lawyer tried to say Patricia was running a social experiment, the judge wasn't buying it. Patricia got 3 years probation, 500 hours of community service, mostly cleaning up graffiti, which is just poetic if you ask me, plus $20,000 in fines, my legal fees, and mandatory anger management. She was also permanently banned from the HOA board. Gerald abstained from the vote, but everyone else was all in. The look on Patricia's face when she got sentenced. You had to be there. I'm talking full-on meltdown, yelling about property values and destroyed everything. Judge banged the gavel, hit her with another $5,000 for contempt right on the spot. Afterward, the neighborhood felt different. People stopped me to apologize, told their own Patricia horror stories. At the next HOA meeting, Gerald, looking like a man who just dropped a 100-pound backpack, announced the board was scrapping half the dumbest rules, starting with mailbox colors and grass height. The vote was unanimous, and for the first time, people actually smiled at each other on their way out. You know, sometimes you've got to take a stand, even if it means being the villain in someone else's story for a while. And maybe, just maybe, neighborhoods are better off when folks remember that rules are supposed to serve the people, not the other way around. But hey, that's just my 2 cents. What do you think? Was I out of line, or did justice finally catch up with the real troublemaker? Drop your thoughts below, because if there's one thing this story proves, it's that everyone's got a side when it comes to HOA drama.